Okay, everyone. Now we're going to be talking about sensation and perception. The process in which we see, hear, smell, feel, and taste, to put it bluntly. But it's not quite as simple as you think. And we'll talk about the processes that are going on when we are interacting with the world around us. So let's start with some basic definitions. Sensation is really how we receive the stimuli from the environment. Basically, we have the ability to respond to stimuli in the environment. We have the ability to respond to light. And we have the sense organs, we have the eyes that allow us to respond to light. So the sense of vision is our body's response to light. We also have the ability to respond to sound waves in the air. And this is our auditory senses, our hearing. So we respond to sound waves. We also respond to chemicals that are floating around in the air. And that's our sense of smell. We respond to chemicals that are dissolved in our saliva, that our taste buds, which is our sensory organs for taste, they respond to those food chemicals dissolved in our saliva. Sense of touch can be pressure, vibration, but basically we have the ability to respond to pressure or vibration on our skin. So basically, sensation is the way we receive information from the environment, the way we receive the stimulus energies from the environment. Okay, that's sensation. We receive this information. Okay. Now, perception is where we organize this information into something that we can understand. So light waves, for example, may hit our retinas in our eyes, but we need to have our brain process this information in order for us to understand what it is we're seeing. Are we seeing a picture? Are we seeing sunlight? Are we seeing a garden outside? The images that we see are processed in our brain, and that's the process of perception. So what's in between? In other words, we have the sense organs that receive the information from the environment. We have the brain that processes the information it receives into concepts and images that we understand. The process in between is called transduction. You're transforming this physical energy, such as sound waves or the chemicals, into electrochemical energy. Now that term electrochemical energy should sound a little bit familiar. Well, we have an electrochemical communication system in our body. It's called the nervous system. And that's basically what is happening, is that the information that's coming in from the environment is transformed into neural signals, action potentials from neurons. And these neural signals are what is sent to the brain. These neural signals then are, and the process of perception is where there's more neural signals that are going on in the brain to essentially put all the pieces together. So this is essentially the path from sensation to perception. And here are just some illustrations of some sensory receptors in our bodies. So we have the rods and the cones, which are visual receptors in our retina. We have the hair cells that exist in our inner ear for hearing, and we have like the taste buds. We have the receptors for smell and for touch as well. Different kinds of receptors for different kinds of touch, by the way. Some respond to deep pressure, some light pressure, some vibration, and so on. So let's talk about this transduction, this process that goes from sensation to perception. Let's start with the first step. You have sensory receptor cells located in the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, and they're converting the raw data. So this is the information, the stimuli that are coming from the environment, and they're translating it into neural impulses. So the sensory receptors are specialized cells. They are specifically designed to respond to different types of stimuli. So in other words, the auditory receptors, the hair cells in the inner ear, they respond to vibration. They don't respond to light. They only respond to the stimuli that it is designed to respond to. So that's what we're talking about. They're specialized cells. They respond selectively to stimulation. The sensory receptors now send a signal to the brain through specific distinct neural pathways. So for example, you have the auditory nerve that goes to the brain, essentially to the part of the brain that deals with processing hearing. You have the from the eye, you have the optic nerve, which goes to the occipital lobe of the brain, which processes vision. So you have these particular pathways that goes from, depending on the particular sense that you're dealing with. Once it goes to the brain, then these neural impulses are processed in the brain, eventually telling us what we are seeing, hearing, smelling, feeling, and tasting. Now there's an interesting phenomenon here called synesthesia, and it relates to the possibility that maybe certain pathways could get crossed up. Maybe the pathway for visual signals maybe also could be processing auditory signals. And this is where we might have some special individuals who have this condition.
Imagine a world where the sound of music made you see colors, where the note of B is sparkling silver, and D flat,
wondrous pure periwinkle,
where the taste of food has a distinctive shape.
Oh, too round.
Well, don't get roasted.
The sound of words can literally leave a bad taste. And thinking of days of the week or months of the year generates an Alice in Wonderland three-dimensional calendar in space.
It's like walking along on a little track.
It may sound a bit strange, but this is the world according to people with synesthesia, where one sense, sight, taste, hearing, touch, or smell, gets jumbled with another, creating what Dr. Richard Cytoic describes as a blending of the senses.
My voice, for example, is not only something that you hear, but also something that you might see or taste or feel as a physical touch.
E flat is turquoise, very warm turquoise.
Laura Rosser sees every note she plays as a distinct color.
F is green. F sharp is yellow-green.
And so while you're playing, these colors, how are they appearing? One at a time as the note is played, or is it like...
They sort of merge into each other.
Synesthesia isn't just people getting a bit poetic about their world. Their brains are wired differently.
Well, they have what I call a different texture of reality.
Hoping to get a better grasp of that reality, I agree to take a couple of simple tests.
Can you see the pattern?
For me, I see the 5s. The 2s look almost like the 5s.
It took me about 15 seconds to find the shape hidden on this page of numbers. But this group of synesthetes who we put to the same test were much quicker.
Can any or all of you tell me where the 2s are and what the pattern is?
It took them less than half the time.
Diamond.
And for you, Laura, why was it so immediate?
The 2s are orange and the 5s are red.
My 5s are red and the 2s are yellow.
They find it so quickly because Laura Rosser and sisters Evan Lynn and Krista Kostenko see more than just black letters. Since they were children, they've had crosstalk going on in their brains, where every letter is associated with a distinct color, and that color never changes.
Once synesthetic associations are established in childhood, the links stay fixed for life.
So they can't really control it, it's just there? Or
It's something that happens to you. You don't do anything to make it happen.
I see it as a gift, as a sort of spiritual God thing that enables more intuition. It really is an added dimension to what I do.
So that's a very interesting, idea that some people have synesthesia. But now that you know how the process of sensation and perception work, it doesn't sound so weird anymore. Because we're seeing that really when we are seeing, hearing, smelling, feeling, and tasting, all that really is the brain telling us through neural signals what it is we are sensing. Therefore, the brain tells us we're hearing, that we are, seeing a sound, or seeing numbers in different colors. Then it's the brain telling us the signal. So for these individuals who are synesthetes, that seems to be what is happening, is that the neural signals the neural pathways are being crossed up somehow. And again, it seems reasonable when you think about how it could happen that way. So let's again get into what sensation is. When you think about what it is we are sensing when we're talking about the sense of vision, we are sensing light. So light is reflected off of a picture of this rose, for example, and we have the sensory receptors in our retina, the rods and the cones, that receive the stimulus and detects the light, and it detects the different colors. The sense of touch, as well as the sense of hearing, is the process of mechanoreception, the detection of pressure, vibration, and movement. So in other words, when a light touch on your skin or a punch in your face, we have the sensation, we are feeling pressure and vibration on our skin, and it's the mechanoreception sense of touch. But it's also the sense of hearing, because it's those hair cells within our inner ear that are also responding to the vibration caused by sound waves. Chemoreception is the detection of chemical stimuli, whether it is floating around in the air in the sense of smell, or dissolved in our saliva, which is the sense of taste.